And then there's in the Laguna Regional in Torreon, we went also last year. I was the only person who was going from my team. And I remember feeling excited and I was determined to accomplish everything that was asked for me. But then I remembered that I was alone. So I was kind of nervous and I was like thinking what I was going to do. And I entered in some kind of panic mode because for starters, I didn't have a camera at my disposition. So pictures have to be taken with my phone. And let's just say my phone doesn't have the best camera, let alone my hands were very shaky at the time because I was very nervous. And of course, and when I had to make a story, I have to run around like crazy because I didn't have any phone service and internet. I couldn't use the one inside of the event. So I have to be running back and forth inside the campus that was happening to get a little bit of internet and try to make something decent of it. And also at that time we were selling some merch. So my coaches were like, hey, can you make publicity? Can you attend the people who want some merch? And I was like, okay, I can do this. It was very chaotic, but in the end, I managed to do everything that I was asked. I felt like a superhero. I was like, yeah, I could do a lot of things. I'm a multitasker pro. But then the adrenaline I had in my body just went out and my body was shaking. I was very exhausted. So looking back at those memories, I'm like, well, you kind of screwed up a bit. Mistakes happen, but it's fine because it's something that happens to people at some point, and mistakes exist for a reason. And it's up to you if you're gonna do something about it to improve, take it as an opportunity to do something better, or just sit around and just think about it and be mad.
Yeah, and for example, when I first entered the team, it was in my first high school year, and I wanted to join BOTBUSTERS for a long, long time. Even though this is my first year on the team, this is not my first time on the first community. Before BOTBUSTERS, I was on another team when I was in upper elementary. So I already knew how first community works, and I really liked it. So that's why I really wanted to join this amazing team. A fun fact, when this amazing journey in BOTBUSTERS started, I wasn't in the content management area. I was in the business area of the team. But when the off-season of Guadalajara was coming, one of the head coaches asked if someone was interested to take photos for the team at the off-season. And I said I wanted because I enjoy taking pictures of the events I go. So was opportunity for me. So thanks for the off-season of Guadalajara. I realized how I really joined all the process of managing the image of the team, how we were discovering new ways to work in team, and also I really like the pressure of doing the stories and checking the angles and all of that stuff. In fact, I really like capturing important moments for the team. So I knew this was my thing. Then 2 months later, the opportunity was presented to me, and so I jumped in, and here I am giving a conference to you. If you ask me if this was part of my plan, I would say no, because the truth is that all the things that happened in my first semester, I wasn't expecting. Also, it was a great decision that I made joining the team because they leave you teachings that you will always be able to apply them in the future. This is what FIRST and BOTBUSTERS also gives you. They give you tools so that you can grow in the personal and professional field. And for that, I'm very grateful to the team. So you may be asked, what's the whole point of this anecdote? We want to tell you that regardless of who you are, you will always have ups and downs. Sometimes we'll not always go our way, and that is okay. Because as long as you continue working hard, you can do amazing things in anything you do. With one more year of experience, we already know more or less how to do things well enough to be able to pass our knowledge to you and be able to help you. Or if you're starting, get an idea and not be lost as we were when we were starting out.
So starting our presentation, I want to ask you a little question. So What's the first thing that comes to you when you think of your team? What pops up in your mind? Maybe it could be the logo of your team, or the mascot, the number, slogan, colors. Well, all of these things that you're thinking of right now, it's all part of branding. So what is branding is the question here. And well, before we start going deep inside of this, I want you to know that for us, we have to learn first branding rather than marketing, because branding is basically what people is going to see. It's literally everything that's going to make your social media grow, because it's what people are going to see. They're going to see the visuals, they're going to see the information, they're going to see all the colors, they're going to see something interesting. So this branding defines and shapes you as a team and answers the question of who you are. And basically, it is the core of marketing. So when we talk about branding, there are two different types. There is branding in marketing, in which basically it is the structure that you're going to give your social media. It gives you a positive perspective on what you want to transmit. And then there is branding design, and branding design relates to graphic design, which we're going to explain later. So branding design is all the key components that people think of when they think of your team. Basically, what I asked you before, it's part of that. So why do I say branding should be learned first than marketing? So branding answers the why question, and marketing answers the how. Branding is long-term, it has direction, it builds you loyalty, and while branding is the being. Otherwise, on the other hand, marketing is short-term, it defines your approach, it builds your response that you need, and it markets the doing. So marketing is basically the behind the scenes, and marketing is what people see, in other words. So when you're starting, there are some things that you have to learn about or have to keep in mind. And in this case, Samantha Peña, which is an article writer for Hudson, she writes articles related to marketing topics. She really breaks it down into three main things, or 3 C's. That's why there's the 3 C's. So the first one is being creative. By this, you need to know that your name and your slogan, or the name you have, are very important, super important. It is an introduction card of your team. Think of it as if you're meeting a person. So imagine that you're in a competition, you're in a regional, you're just walking around, and then you see someone and you're like, oh, okay, he or she seems nice, I want to meet them. So you approach the person, you ask their names, and then you ask some questions and you become friends, right? It kind of works the same for your branding or your team. People are going to see first your logos, or they're going to be like, okay, this is interesting, I want to know who they are. So then they're going to enter your feed, they're going to see your name, and they're going to see your objectives. The next one is being consistent. Being consistent doesn't mean that you have to be doing or posting or uploading as much as content as possible every single day. By being consistent, I want you to maintain a personality for your platform. This is because many people tend to create different types of styles when uploading things, and it gives some inconsistency. And inconsistency, sometimes it's visually clashy, and it's a big turnoff for people. Being inconsistent is like showing like if your team has a type of multiple personality or a midlife crisis type of situation. So we don't want that to happen. So big brands like Apple with its logo, with its Apple icon, and then Nike with its Just Do It slogan, we all know them because of this type of things. We all know that they're very consistent. We know them by their colors, by their fonts, their slogans, their icons. All those things are related with consistency. So keep in mind and establish a good type of set a mood board, like an idea. So you know what type of figures you want to use, what colors to use, what fonts to use. And well, with those things, they're going to remember you who you are as a team. So now that you have something consistent to work on, you have to be connected with people. So by being connected, you have to determine the core values of your team. You have to answer the question of what you want to transmit, what the team means to you. And you don't just have to say it and stick with it. You have to actually embody it in real life. You have to maintain this personality online and in real life. Because if you demonstrate something different, people is going to get a bit confused, and they're going to have different thoughts about, I thought there was this thing, but I thought it was another thing. So we have to maintain this core values and objectives the same in real life and digitally. So now that I give you this type of information in branding, we're going to go with graphic design.
Yeah, and as Mariana was saying, when we think about graphic design, it comes to our mind color, fonts, shapes, and other things. But do we know what it's for? So basically, graphic design is the process that brands do for creating visual content that can help them interact with the audience that they want to reach. So in graphic design, visual communication is essential for them, especially for brands that want to connect with their target audience. Overall, graphic design is a decisive part of an overall content strategy. Let's say, if you have a lot of text or a lot to say, no one will notice the amount of text because of the good graphics strategy. So graphic design is important for a lot of reasons. First, it's the basis of every logo design you have ever seen. Second, think about all the social media content and advertisements you see every day. Yes, all of that is part of graphic design. In addition, graphic design is a part of
Além
book
disso,
cover design,
design gráfico é uma parte de design em geral.
magazine page layouts, product design, apparel design, and more.
Okay, so now as branding, it has different types. In this case, we have 7 different types in which you might have seen them, you might know which one are, but maybe you didn't realize they were part of graphic design. So first comes up graphics. You know, when you enter to Canva or any type of editing software, there are like type of figures, colors with different silhouettes and ingredients and styles. Well, all these graphics help you to make your content really stand out and decorated. There are also pictures, which they speak louder than words, like the default presentations in Google Slides. When you see them and you see the slide for the pictures, well, they actually transmit sometimes information better than writing some text, because people can interpret it in many different ways, but in the end, they reach the same main idea. Then we have video and animations. Even though they're 2 separate types, they actually kind of relate because they both engage more your audience in what they're gonna see. And they are both they're better for entertainment, as you can see, because all of the movements, all the animations, transitions, and all of those things, they engage really the attention of your audience. Then there are quotes, which is kind of the same as pictures. Like you can explain something in a paragraph, or you can just use one short inspiring quote to actually summarize all that. Then there is data visualization, which are all the infographics, graphs, mind maps, all of those things go in data visualization, and they make the information, of course, a lot prettier, and they set out the main idea and the secondary ideas. And lastly, we have presentations, in which it involves all of them, and it's kind of like in slides, you can actually make a coherent structure about the information you're going to give. Now with these tools, with these types, we can talk about all of the tools we use.
Yeah, and so to apply all these, here are some tools and tips that you can apply with your graphic design. The first one is brand identity design. So this along is the most important type. A brand identity consists of logo, color palette, fonts, typography, imagery style, patterns, shapes, and brand guidelines. The second is marketing and advertising design. The specialization focuses on the graphics we see on social media, websites, and advertisements, both online and offline. Then there is user interface design. This type of design focuses more on designing actual websites, apps, software, and other online programs. These specializations need the designer to understand how to design visually appealing programs, while also ensuring that it's easy for the user to navigate and understand how to use. And lastly, we have illustration design. This type of graphic design typically is done in professional programs like Adobe using a stylus and touchscreen to draw out the elements and turn them into digital design. However, every designer has their own style and process. In our process of creating our content, stories, and short videos specifically, every once in a while, we always try to experiment doing new things so that it doesn't get very repetitive with the same thing design style. A piece of advice, always experiment with new things. Dive into your own creativity without hesitating. When dealing with color combos or just colors in general, these along with contrast are very important. Colors have an extraordinary ability to affect people's mood and causes different emotions based on their cultural and personal background. And the human eye loves to see contrast. Any types of contrast in size, text, structure, shape, or color will get people's attention, which is super important nowadays when users go through new feeds only briefly. Constant contrast helps emphasize the main idea, and the rest it helps complement the whole thing.
So as color and contrast gives you a very powerful tool so people can get their attention and see their content. You have to also try to find different combinations of your fonts and text, because finding the right size and right type or right combination can actually be very eye-catching for a person. If we get something that it's not that strong enough on your social media, people are not gonna really see the content, and they're just gonna be messed up with all of the things that's going on. Also, you have to make your first priority that you have to be clear and comprehensible when putting a text out there. So also you can explore new ways to make your animations or maybe create your content. You may, if you're using Canva, you can use another type of app so you can explore new things and maybe unlock new knowledge or do something unique and new. And with this, I want to give you the last advice, which is basically create your own unique style. So style and design has a broad of definitions, but in the end, it's a complex mix and combinations of colors, silhouettes, figures, and all of the things that we just mentioned. And style, when you have a unique style established, it's gonna distinguish your team and who you are. So once you get this style, you can make templates about it. And maybe if you make some type of content on a daily basis, let's say if you make a lot of giveaways, you can make a template for your giveaways. Or if you make vlogs, you can make a template for your vlogs, and so on. And these templates can actually help the future generations that enter also on your content management team. And they cannot be as lost as you once were or as we were, or so they can have a guidance or an idea of what they're gonna do. So after all this information, we're gonna go into the part where we explain how we manage our social media. So sometimes it can be kind of hectic and stressful during times because it's usually very last minute type of situation with us. In our situation, it was always a person of the team did everything. And it was not good for their social media, not good for the team to develop their skills. And of course, it was not that good for the person who was doing it. So with time, we have discovered a type of structure that has helped us out a lot. And today we're gonna explain it to you.
Yeah, and we have 5 stages. First, we have the organizing. It's the stage where everything is planned for the month. We assign a day of the week where all the members are available and discuss a work plan, and this will also be the day of each week to discuss progress and what to love next. At this point, there will be a brainstorm to be able to generate the content of the month. and thus be able to distribute the work. The amount of content depends on each team. For us, we have been doing 3 things per week, so we end up with 12 content ideas for the month. A tip for you is to make a brainstorming document where you can put all the ideas there. So if your team ends up with more ideas than the number needed for the month, you can use those ideas for the next one. Next, we have role storing stage. This is where we divide ourselves into 2 parts with different roles. In one part, there are the members who are in charge of the pictures and story of the team. So this means this part of the team will take pictures, edit the photos, create content with them, and these begin stories about a hard day's work or posting something about an event or anything the team is involved in. How you wish to sort the task is up to the amount of the people and what each one wishes to do. Also, this division is to be able to split the workload so that not just one person has to do all the work for the week. These roles will change every month. So if one person was in pictures with the same group, you will have to do a different role and so on. The objective of this is to have each member of the team learns how to handle any role or any task assigned in the case of something happens.
After that, we're gonna have the hands-on stage, in which basically everyone that's got already a work assigned is gonna do their part. So if you're gonna take a picture, you're gonna take a picture, then the other person, when it gets the pictures, it's gonna edit them, and then someone does the post, writes the caption, and of course, another person can come with the ideas of the stories. Kind of works the same for videos, like someone is gonna record it, another one is gonna edit the video, and if necessary, they're gonna make a thumbnail. So there's gonna be a type of person who's gonna supervise that both areas are working accordingly to the plan that is established. And if there are any type of struggles they're gonna have in the way, maybe the supervisor can help them out and say anything to the coaches about the progress. So after this, they're the last touches stage. When the product is already out, they're gonna send it to the supervisor, so that they're gonna check it out if they need to change the time, or if they need a change of music, if they need it's infinite more time, or maybe more content, or maybe you have to check the text if it's written correctly. All of these things are gonna pass through the supervisor. And lastly, there is gonna be the green light stage. I'm sorry, in the 5 last touches stage, I forgot to edit the name, but it's the green light stage, where basically the coach gives you the thumbs up, it's okay to upload, and you just upload. So here's an example for you to see how it's gonna work. So imagine a team, the content management, it's maybe someone over there in the team, Fernanda and me. Supposedly we make a session on Monday at 5 p.m. and it's gonna be our day for our meetings. And we want to upload 9 things in a month. This being 2 videos, 3 posts, and 4 stories. So we first sort them out on a calendar and see how each one is gonna work on, and then we're gonna assign the roles. So let's say Fer wants to make a post and be the supervisor. I wanna make the videos, and another person wants to make the stories. So this is gonna be a work for the week. Now the next week, we're gonna change our roles. If Fernanda was the one that makes the post, in the next week she has to make a story or a video. And the same works for everyone else. So after the job was done, we already have the thing we're gonna upload. Fernanda is gonna check it. She checks the job, she says, I don't really like the music, can you change it please? And well, yeah, we change it. And now it's perfect. So we go with our coach, say like, hey, can you check it out? He says, okay, yeah, big thumbs up, you may upload it. And that's how we kind of work. And this is a structure that helps us out during the last months. So one thing is managing your content normally, and another is working during the regionals. So now we're gonna go with how we manage this during regionals, since it's a very, very stressful and also exciting week, as we all know. We have all experienced it, or maybe you're gonna experience it. And well, the workload is a bit heavier, of course, but this is why we're gonna give you some tips we used on the last off-season we went out in Guadalajara, and it turned out pretty good with this tip, so we're gonna give them to you. Of course, we divided it on a 3-stage type of plan. There is a pre-regional, the during the regional, and a post-regional. In the pre-regional is basically pre-planning. We're gonna do this 1 week before the actual event happening. So this is so we can see how many people in the area can go, and if they're gonna do something else as being a volunteer, or if they're gonna talk on the chairman's, which is no impact, or anything of the sort. We can actually sort the roles for each day and know how everything is gonna work. So since we are 4 people, we made 2 photographers. One was taking videos and another was making the stories. So these roles, we exchange them every day, so each one can have the same abilities and skills if someone gets hurt, or if someone gets sick, or if anything happens. Then we applied this thing where we said 3 heads are better than 1. By this, we mean, how about if we ask the team if what they want to see on their content, if they want to start a picture, or if they have any ideas to help us out, we can actually implement them. And we kind of thought this was a very great idea, because in the end, the team members really loved the photos, they loved how they turned out. And we believe that it gave us like a unique type of thing to work on. It gave us more content than usual. And of course, it has a part of the team, of each member. So of course, another very important thing is create your own templates for the content of that weekend. It's gonna make your job faster and efficient and more easier for you, since the only thing you're gonna do when you're making a story is just record whatever you're thinking or whatever is happening and just paste it on the template and you're ready to go. So creating templates is a good hack for you.
Yeah, now we have the second stage is during the whole event. So this is the moment where the action begins. The stress and the wave of emotions begins, where the pre-plan is being executed and we learned a thing or two. Sometimes improvising is good, because many times when we were there were changes, what we did was improvise, either with more content, or if there are any conference, take photos or videos. So the second is to spread out. Something that helped us a lot in the Guadalajara season was that the people who had cameras were spread all over the place. So if someone was taking pictures at the court, one was taking pictures at the pit, another one took pictures at the sitting areas, another person was creating stories, reaching out to the other people, the team members, or another was recording the conference, and so. Now we have trust your gut. Not everything has to be about the whole competition. Maybe the journey on your way to the event, something really cool happens with the team, whether they are playing or spending time together, laughing, and things like that. You can think, or rather to feel like all these emotions, it's pretty cool for us. And after having a whole work day of running around, when we arrive to the hotel, the team usually is met up at a meeting point. So with their cameras and laptops to download the pictures and sort them out into different categories, and these being posts, stories, reels, short videos, or junk. We did this for each date, and it was easier for us to look what we wanted to upload faster, and well, it looked cleaner. Lastly, we have the post-regional stage, in which we basically plan the content of what happened during those days. So this division we mentioned earlier is made of group photos and a group of video, and they start working on it.
So since we already ran out of time, this is the closing recap. So those are all the tips that we gave you. If you want, you can take a screenshot about it. And just to close it all up, as you see, everything we made, all the progress that we already have, is because we always keep on trying if we had a mistake. You don't really need a camera to actually stand out and be a very important piece of the team. There is more to the content management team than just taking pictures. Take it from me, because I don't have a camera yet, but I have accomplished so many things along the way in my years, well, in my second year. And before I was very insecure about it, but now that I see it, it's like, if I want something, I have to talk to somebody to help me out. If I cannot let all these things about what if people is gonna say about if I make a mistake, or if what I upload is not good enough. You have to take all those thoughts away from your mind, because it's only gonna give you a setback, and it's not gonna let you grow as a person, and let alone you're not gonna grow your skills. It's something you get to love actually once you let all of these things out of your mind. So I hope this information was useful for you. If you have experience, if you're starting out, I hope it was very helpful for you to start and have an idea to work and start doing something unique. And well, if you have any questions, you can ask us.
Thank you so much, Mariana, Fernanda. Of course, oh, there, your social media is right there on the slide presentation. And now, everyone, the floor is open for questions. I don't know if you're okay with that, Mariana, Fernanda, to answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
So, yep, let's go ahead. We have an anonymous attendee asking, after the regional events, how many days it takes you to plan your posts, your media posts for the upcoming regional?
Okay, so this actually comes up when we are on the pre-planning. Like, we kind of get off an idea, since we know that there are going to be a lot of pictures, a lot of content. We think about when we're going to upload. Let's say our team is capable of doing 3 or 4 things for maybe 2 weeks. So we have to first set a real, we need a mentality that we're going to say, let's get real. We cannot do a lot of things at the same time. So my recommendation is, do the quality of content your team is capable of. Don't overwork them, don't oversaturate them, because it's just going to make everybody frustrated. And of course, your content is not going to be the high quality that it deserves.
Okay.
Next question.
Yep. And another anonymous attendee asks, how can you be creative if you have to follow the team image settings?
Well, it's not a restriction, actually. It actually helps you out once you know what colors to use. And of course, these were part of the tips. Like, you can experiment with the different colors. You can maybe use a different hue of the colors that your team has. Maybe if you have a deep red, in my case, you can make a brighter red, or if you have a black, maybe make a gray. Mix those things, experiment with different types of styles that actually embodies what your team thinks of, what it represents you. So all of these things, like I said, it's trial and error. So just keep on experimenting. And if you feel it's like, this is my team, this is what it represents, I really like this, go for it.
Okay. Also, Luciana Palacios asks, during the regional events again, how can I make my PID look more attractive and catchy for people, and also for social media? I guess the question goes more to social media, but do you have any tips for the PID and the regional events? That would be awesome too. Okay,
so the PID. For social media, we try to think about the TikTok trends or anything that's trending in social media, and ways to implement it on robotics per se, maybe transitions, or maybe if you get an idea for a team, like, hey, maybe like start working and pretend that we're not here. Or if the robot is per se, like we did in Guadalajara, like when you're setting up the PID and the robot is coming up, maybe like record the transition of what's happening, like we're preparing for our PID, or maybe put like when they're working, BOTBUSTERS is working on right now. We're preparing for our next match. Think of those little things with your team. And of course, if you want to make your pit more creative, you can just talk with your team and brainstorm ideas so you can decorate it, the pit. And well, for in social media to look like really creative, like really fun and unique.
Okay, thank you very much. We got a lot of questions, but there's not enough time to answer all of them. I think the Q&A section is open for you if you want to answer some of them via text. But everyone, if you have any more questions or would like to get in touch with Team 4635, their social media, their Instagram account is right over there in the slideshow at BOTBUSTERS 4635. And again, Mariana, Fernanda, thank you very much for being in Warm Up. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. And thank you for being our first presentation of this third edition.
Thank you so much for the invitation. We really enjoyed this opportunity to talk to people and explain our experiences to everyone and give out tips. This has been very useful for us to actually spread the information that we have grown so much. And well, mainly hopefully help people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me just share.